Alright guys, welcome back again to the channel, back to let you know some of the stories making the rounds right now as it concerns the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So we are still waiting for the list, Coach Eric Shell's 23 players squad to play in the World Cup qualifying series against Benin Republic and against Lesotho in the coming days. And we are seeing a lot of countries now starting to release their lists. In fact, the last 24 hours I've seen like 4 or 5 lists, from different countries. Talk about the likes of Uganda. They actually released their lists for their game against Botswana and Algeria. And then we also had the likes of um, Tanzania releasing their list as well, you know. So there are a few countries who have started releasing the list. So obviously we expect that we are going to see the Super Eagles list very, very soon. It's going to be interesting to see the guys that Kucherksha releases in the next couple of hours, and then we get to know if these guys can actually get us the results in the two games that we have. And speaking about the players who we expect to make the cut, it seems like there are some fresh injury worries right now. For our players, the latest being the likes of Victor Boniface and Felix Agu, both of who play for Werder Bremen Football Club in the German Bundesliga. So their injuries were actually reported today, just a few hours ago, and it's apparently happened in their training center when they were training. Felix Agus injury seemed, based on the reports, like the one that is the more serious because after he had the injury, he couldn't continue. He had to be moved out of the pitch, in a golf cart, and then he had to sit out the training. He was just watching from the golf car, watching the whole training. But for Victor Boniface, his injury came later on towards the end of the training, and he managed, playing even after he got the injury. But he was constantly seen touching that spot where he was hit. So this is definitely some worries for Coach Eric Shaw. I know that I don't- some of us might argue that these guys are not particularly the first team players. So obviously, like if they don't make the squad or if they misses out due to injury, then it might not even affect us as much. But it's also good for we to have a strong bench. For example, the likes of Feliz Agu, since he made the call up, Coach Eric Shaw has seen his quality and is always seemed to find a way to include him into the squad, even though he doesn't play every time he gets called up. But he's always there to come in when need be. So and yeah, so he's someone that has quality. He's good on the attacking front. He's also good defensively. So someone that we could really use. So definitely, it's a big blow if at the end of the day he's not able to make it. I'm sure it's going to worry Coach a lot. But definitely, we still have a lot of players who can actually fill in that void. So but we'll see what happens, guys. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen, who got back to scoring ways again. Yesterday in the Champions League. I didn't get to talk about that in the previous video because obviously when I was recording the video, the match had not been played. But Osimhen stepped up again for his Galatasaray side, and became the difference maker in the match. He actually got the only goal for the match via penalty, which a lot of people might argue that penalty is easy, but take away the penalty and just factor in his performance for that match. And I'm sure if you saw that game, you would agree with me that he was a constant threat to the Liverpool uh, defenders, particularly with Konate. He really, really threatened the living daylight out of that guy. And at the end of the day, he was the man of the match for that match. Got the goal, and that goal was also something that broke record for Nigerians who have played in the Champions League, and that set him on 10 goals total, topping Obafemi Martins, who has 9 goals. So previously, Osimhen was on 9 goals, level with Obafemi, so that goal puts him first now. The third person after Martins, we have Victor Ekweba with seven goals, Ademola Lukman 5 goals, Kanu Wankwo 5 goals, Yakubu Ayegbeni 5 goals. So Sima is now the one topping the leaders board in terms of Nigerian goal scorers in the Champions League. But then the man was very happy, very elated after that match. And here are some things that he came out to say, after a very important victory for Galatasaray because obviously they needed it, if especially after losing their first game in Champions League, so they needed all 3 points. But after the match, Osimhen came out, he was hyped, said a lot of things. One being that nobody actually believed in them before that game. Everybody was tipping Liverpool to beat them. That the only people that believed in them, were the fans. And at the end of the day, he's proud of the team. He's also proud of the fans, and he's glad that that they were able to win the game. Talks about Galatasaray being the best team in the world, which I don't agree with that personally, but it's a good thing that he said for him, in his own opinion, Gala is the best team in the world, because of how the fans always, get behind the players, constantly shout to the top of their voice, disturb the visiting team, But just to read out some of the things he said, I'm extremely happy about the performance we put in about one of the greatest clubs in the world. For us, we never get carried away because this is a true test that Liverpool gave to us, and I'm really happy about this win. It won't take away that they are one of the best teams in the last decade. For us, it's a really big motivation for us. They made us even better, and we know we have a lot of things to work on. I'm really happy for this win. You come face to face with one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Ellison. I have to be on high concentration for the place where I want to put the ball, and I didn't change it. For me, it's a huge moment. I came against him when I played for my previous club, and he saved my penalty, so I needed to be highly concentrated to do better. So these are basically some of the statements from Victor Osimhen. Of course, the man is back. More importantly for us now, from the Super Eagles side of things, because obviously he's going to be one of the first people that gets mentioned in the list that Coach Share is going to release, and we hold him very very high as someone that can help us get the victory in these games, against Benin and Lesotho. But there's also some reactions, across um, the media houses, analysts, pundits, and all of that. Henry, of course, he said a couple of things, a couple of his opinions about Victor Osimhen. Carragher as well, the man who a lot of contentious things, also said some things about Victor Osimhen. Let's just start with Thierry Henry. Henry feels that Osimhen, actually did well, but on a general scale, he feels that Osimhen killed the game for Galatasaray. That means he actually impeded Galatasaray because he was kind of greedy, according to Henry, that he had a couple of chances that he could have passed to his teammates and they would have easily gone 2-3 nil up against Liverpool. But he was so greedy, he wanted to do it by himself. And, in that moment, he kind of endangered Galatasaray, but they were lucky to have had a penalty, which feels they were even lucky to get that penalty because it doesn't feel that it was very deserved that much. So that's part of what Henry came out to say. And it's what he said. Victor Osimhen was greedy against Liverpool. You're always going to have a bit of luck. The penalty that they called wasn't a penalty. They did fight on every single ball. They played the counter to the mags. They could have had a couple more if Osimhen sometimes was a bit less greedy. He could have released the ball for one of his teammates, but he took the penalty ever so well. So that's what Henry has said about Osimhen. And for Carragher, of course, you guys know he's a Liverpool fan, also a Liverpool legend because he played all his career at Liverpool. Carragher said, I probably won't be able to sleep. I don't even want to hear people's voices after this defeat. The penalty decision against Galatasaray was a harsh one. Osimhen caused Liverpool problems all night. He's always going for goal. He has a lot of confidence, but I mean, who doesn't give Konate problems? So that's what he said to CBS News. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's not important what these guys think. They're just doing their job, getting paid for it. At the end of the day, I feel like all of these criticisms uh, doesn't bring down Osimhen's ability, doesn't bring out down his quality, doesn't bring down how highly we Nigerians rate Victor Osimhen. For us, he's number one. You know, he's the best striker for us in the world because when it comes to play, not just for the national team, even with this club side, you see the passion, you see the diehard uh, performance. You see him chasing down every ball to the last. You see him fighting on the pitch. Using his strength. These are something that if you see someone do, you know that they are really using their mind to play for you or play for the country. So I mean, it's not even surprising that we love him. It's not surprising that the fans love him and always want to see, I always rate him very high, even if he doesn't get the goal. But at least you know that he will always sweat and try to make things work anytime he's on the pitch. That's why we love him. But that's the updates for now. Of course, we'll be looking out for Chelsea's list to be released. It could be any moment from now as we speak because other countries have started releasing theirs. But it's going to be interesting to see the guys that Kucherkshaw finally decides to invite to the national team.